We're talking the NFC East. They finally figured out itself, and honestly, Washington and New York finished better than I expected. I really thought the team who would win the division would go 6-10.
And Zach, you're right. This was a division that by paper was like, what's so interesting? But it actually really was. It was almost the most interesting division, probably the entire NFL season, which is great. And, with everything that's happened, stuff like this is what we just need to, see sports back, but see that competition really rise up to another level. And also props. With everything that has happened to the Washington football team, both this current season and then a little before it started, props to them for, staying focused and being able to win the division. So much has happened, both positive, negative, so many emotions that, you kind of give a team if they don't have a good year, you're like, well, they have to go through this and this happened. So with that, but no, they did not lose any focus of that. I mean, and, from obviously the name change, which was a big topic, but then again, Alex Smith's return to football, which, again, he has been way better than anyone would have ever expected, given some grace that a couple years ago he was probably on the verge of never being able to play, to even performing where he's at now is nothing short of a miracle. But so, again, a lot has happened to this organization, and they still found a way to sneak into the playoffs. I mean, of their last 7 games, they've won 5 of them. They're gonna try to stay alive. They're going to go up against a Buccaneers team, but this is one of those games that if they have that mentality, like Ohio State, for going into the playoffs, in the sense of more, a lot of people are doubting them. They're not really sure where they're at. I mean, you never know. That's the beauty of sports. I mean, it's football especially. I mean, Tom Brady's had the experience, and I mean, I personally think Tampa Bay will win, but again, Washington might at least surprise a couple people, but it's going to be tough. But they have won 5 of their last 7 games, which is something that's worth noting.
Some interesting points, but I'm going to say something. So there have been 2 other teams that have gone 7-9 and made into playoffs, and one of them was a team coached by Ron Rivera. That was the 2015 Carolina Panthers. The 2020 Washington football team is coached by Ron Rivera. I'm just going to say that. And you know what? They won the game. No team has ever gotten in the playoffs losing a record and lost the first game. I think that's an interesting point, and I the Buccaneers are so good, and they're also hot, and they're coming in at the right time, and they're the wild card team, and they just have so much firepower, so I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, Rob Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. What? What? What is this, college? I mean, it's ridiculous. But that's going to be tough for Washington. But, props to Alex Smith. He saved the season. He really did. That's on top of the fact that returning to the NFL alone for him is a near miracle, and also props goes to Ron Rivera. I think we kind of forget that he had cancer earlier this year and beat it, and then navigated the Dwayne Haskins distractions and still got his team to win the division and then the playoffs. I mean, Ron Rivera should be in the conversation for Coach of the Year, even though his team went 7-9. I think if you win your division and do it by going to the fact that you have a QB change, you're dealing with your own stuff off the field. We're in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, what has Ron Rivera done that isn't arguably in the conversation for Coach of the Year? I'm not saying he's going to win it or necessarily should win it, but I think you have to give him some votes. I think you have to acknowledge what he's done as head coach of this football team and de facto general manager, because they don't have one. I mean, he's that's crazy. And I do want to look at the rest of the NFC East. The Cowboys lost Dak Prescott, and I think with Dak, the Cowboys win this division because, I mean, Andy Dalton looked pretty good, and I think Dak is better than Andy Dalton. They have too many receivers. Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper. Zeke's not what he used to be. The offensive line isn't what it used to be either. But Dak, I mean, was on pace to literally put up like 5,500 yards. I mean, Kellen Moore calls great offense. For as much as you want to argue that they underachieved, I mean, Kellen Moore knows how to call offense. And the guy's 32 years old. He has a bright future in the NFL. So I think, and they were able to retain him. So I think moving forward, I think the Cowboys, if they get Dak Prescott back, which is not a guarantee, I mean, obviously playing the franchise tag this year, I think they have a chance to be pretty good in the future. The Eagles are turning into a dumpster fire really quickly. I think Doug Peterson and Howie Roseman should be gone. They might be gone. I don't want to necessarily say they're calling for their jobs in the sense that they should be fired, but I mean, you've seen they're saying that Doug Peterson literally threw the game this past Sunday, and now his own team is coming out and saying they hated his decision making. You don't usually see that publicly. Whether that happens or not, it's generally not a public thing. I think he's lost. Right. I mean, it's like no one on his team agrees with that decision. At least to that level. They're all like coming out against
level
him.
Of true frustration.
So I think Doug Peterson might have to be gone, and I don't think you can keep Howie Roseman around. Yes, the two of them combined to lead them to a Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl in team history, but sometimes things run their course and you got to move on, and it's probably the time for the Eagles to move on from Doug Peterson and Howie Roseman. The Giants, they're on the upswing. Joe Judge looked great. I mean, who hires this team's special team coordinator? No name guy, and he turns out to be great. It's not like special team coordinators can't be great head coaches. I mean, John Harbaugh's won a Super Bowl and is one of the best coaches in the NFL. So it's not the fact that he is a special teams coordinator. It's just the fact that he was a no-name, came out of nowhere. And to be honest, he's a good football coach. He had them playing well at the end of the year. It really looked like they were going to pull a 2007 or 2011 run there and sneak into the playoffs. But they'll be better next year. Daniel Jones will be another year better. Saquon Barkley will come back. I think they do need to get another receiver for him. Evan Ingram's great at the tight end position, but they gotta have better receivers than Sterling Shepard and Golden Tate. That's just the truth of it. But this draft is deep at receiver, just like last year. I think there'll be a few Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle are all great. They might be the Giants might be picking too late, but if any one of them falls, I think the Giants getting a real steal there. And then, obviously Washington, they're the division winners. They made it in. I think they're gonna have to get another quarterback to get drafted, like I talked earlier. I don't think they can stick with Alex Smith long term, but I think they have a future at least for the next couple of years. Ron Rivera is a good football coach. Their defense is just going to keep getting better, especially with Chase Young coming off the end. They'll be good. They'll be good. Terry McLaurin is great. Logan Thomas has turned out to be fantastic at tight end. You can't. I just think they have some building blocks there, on that side on both sides of the ball there in Washington, and they have a good coach in Ron Rivera who knows how to coach football teams. So we'll see. I think the NFC East won't be as bad as it was this year. It was bad, though. It was not as historically bad as it was looking in week 5 or 6, though. I think we should remember, though, the 2020 iteration, the NFC West was what it was, a microcosm of 2020 as a whole. A lot of mess and what seemed to be poor play, but we made it out.
Well, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for similar content. And also, let's get a discussion going in the comments. We love to hear and debate with your opinions as well. And you can also check out the full episodes on all of the major podcasting sites. So once again, with Zach, I'm Tanner, and this has been Beyond the Stats.